Just close your eyes. Know the peace within. Just now, you are the non-dual absolute reality. Nothing has never happened to you in your original state, the absolute state. Just now you are that. And you are yet to realize this eternal truth that you are ever here. You are prior to the duality of birth and death. And nothing has never happened to you. In spite of being the highest truth, the ultimate truth, the supreme truth, still you appear to be struggling, to be disturbed by the perceived happenings, perceived objects, perceived manifestation at the duality level, which is not you. You are yet to know the secret that you are already the non-dual and ever present. You have no beginning and no ending. You are eternally here and nothing has never happened to you. As you are yet to know the eternal secret, the non-dual secret about you, you appear to remain struggled by the perceived duality show within space. Just now, you know the peace within. Just now, you are conscious of yourself. You know that you are. Without words, this is the beginning of your consciousness. Your consciousness knows its presence as I amness. Without words, to know your presence, no word is required. You know it by yourself, and this knowing is self-evident. It is your direct knowing. This is the beginning of your consciousness. Your consciousness comes to know that it is only through this form as I amness. But your consciousness unknowingly accepts itself to be the manifested form at the duality level. At the duality level, entire object is happening just now. Entire form is happening just now. The total manifestation is happening just now as cosmos, universe, galaxies, world. Where? In your consciousness. This your consciousness is yet to know. Unknowingly, your consciousness is accepting itself to be the form with imposed labels, with fixed labels as itself. At the surface level, at the duality level, your consciousness never knows that it is consciousness. Your consciousness never knows that it is prior to words. Your consciousness never knows that it is prior to the object. Only object happens out of it. Just now. Your consciousness does not know that it is prior to world. Just now. Your consciousness does not know that it is prior to sound. Just now. Your consciousness is prior to form. Just now. This your consciousness is yet to know because it is never conscious of itself. Though your consciousness is the source of the entire manifested object within space at the duality level, your consciousness remains ignorant about itself. It does not know what it is. That is why your consciousness is constantly struggling at the duality level, within space, at the manifested level, within space, at the form level, within space, at the movement level, within space. Your consciousness accepts the form to be itself, not knowing that it is prior to form, and out of your consciousness only the form happens. Not only your form, but every form within space just now. Your consciousness does not know the secret about itself till it comes across a realized. It is accepting itself to be the form, to be the name, to be the movement, to be the happening. To be real, to be real, to be real. Once your consciousness comes to know that it is only consciousness and not the form, neither the object, nor the movement, nor the space, neither the duality, then it remains relieved from the entire perceived duality. How to remain free from the perceived disturbed duality? Because your consciousness is prior to space. Unnecessarily and unknowingly, it is trapped by the events within space. Your consciousness is non-dual, prior to duality, where there is no movement. But here within duality, everything is appearing and disappearing at an unexplainable speed, in no time. Your consciousness, which is unmoving, which is unchanging and ever present and non-dual, is now constantly troubled or disturbed by every object, every movement, every happening within space at the duality level. still it knows itself. By closing eyes and knowing the peace within, now you know the stillness within which is beyond words. This stillness is the beginning of your consciousness. Now you are totally relieved from the perceived show. You are made to close your eyes only to know that you are prior to space. Here you means not the form. You are not the tiny form. You are infinite, beyond limitations, beyond boundaries, beyond matter, beyond movement, beyond any happening. You are prior to space. How can that which appears and disappears or moves within space affects you? Because you are yet to know that you are only consciousness and your consciousness is within. Within means prior to space, beyond space. Originally you are non-dual prior to space. And whatever perceived are within space, which are dual, constantly changing. You are non-dual, you are only observing the duality show. This your consciousness is yet to know. Till then your consciousness remains disturbed, unknowingly. So listening to your realized is most important, otherwise your consciousness remains ignorant forever and never knows that it is the ultimate supreme, the only reality beyond duality. Now, your consciousness knows the peacefulness, the stillness within. Now your consciousness starts waking up. Wakefulness begins. Here, inwardly, wakefulness is inward, knowing is inward, reality is also inward. Outwardly, only an ever-changing movie is going on by the appearance, movement and disappearance of the objects. You are prior to object, you are prior to movement, you are prior to appearance, and you are prior to disappearance. Any appearance, any movement, any disappearance cannot affect you once you settle inwardly as you are now. I am practically helping you to be with yourself. Just now your consciousness is conscious of itself by abiding in stillness constantly. Very rarely your consciousness knows the stillness within, and that too only for a shorter duration. Again it gets identified with the perceived objects in space and again getting trapped. Seldom your consciousness settles down inwardly, constantly, and wakes up totally to realize its ultimate eternity beyond birth and death. Your consciousness cannot die. Listen deeply, I am talking to your consciousness. There are no persons here. I am talking about the ultimate secret, the supreme truth about you. You will not get this knowledge anywhere. I am not telling any stories and citing any incidents. I am directly pointing the absolute truth within you. Listen deeply, sincerely. I am talking to your consciousness. To remain wakeful. Already your consciousness is within the source of awareness, the absolute. Your consciousness is never separate from the source. Just now, I'm not telling any story. I am telling the exact fact about yourself and explaining what you are just now. Your consciousness is never, never, never separate from the absolute source. But it never knows that it is already within the source. Neither it knows that it is only consciousness. And it is always identifying itself to be a tiny form with fixed labels. There's no remedy at all at the form level identification. There's no remedy. What's the remedy at the duality level? Where everything is constantly appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing. Can truth appear and disappear? And you are holding on to that which is not real to be real. Then how can you remain wakeful? How can you remain peaceful? How can you remain undisturbed? Because you are holding on to the perceived show, which is the reflection of the light within, not real. Because you are yet to know the reality within you. Why I am expounding this knowledge to you? Because I know what you are, and you are yet to know. All these words are coming straight from the source. Why? To wake up your consciousness, because it is honestly struggling by not knowing itself. You are already the source. You are already the absolute. You are never separate from the truth. But still you appear to be struggling constantly at the duality level, from the beginning of the waking state till sleep happens. I am telling you the reason. I am telling you why you appear to struggle and what you are exactly. Nothing has never happened to you. Just now I am telling you. At the non-dual level. But you are holding on to the duality to be yourself. As you are yet to know the non-dual truth in you, just now. Who else can explain to you? Unless one is woken up totally from the perceived duality. Unless one knows the deathlessness about the non-duality, these teachings cannot be taught. You have come to the right place. Listen deeply. Do not waste a single nanosecond. I am not telling any story here. I am telling you that you are the ultimate, highest truth. Imbibe this teaching sincerely. It helps you to be conscious of yourself. You are never born. This is the ultimate secret. You are ever here. Then find out what is born. Only the realized knows that you are in this unborn state, but you are accepting the dream state to be real, and you are accepting the birth and death to be real, because your consciousness is yet to know that it is consciousness. That's all. Your consciousness is strongly holding the form to be itself. The form is not you. You are only utilizing the form. You are only observing through the form. You are the observer prior to consciousness, prior to duality, prior to light. This secret your consciousness knows only by being conscious of itself. So I am helping your consciousness to be conscious of itself. How can you remain conscious of yourself? By identifying each and every object, by identifying each and every word, by identifying each and every moment to be real, to be real, to be real. Do you know what is real? Can real change itself? Can real appear and disappear? Then what is real here in space? And what are you holding to be the real here in space? You are yet to know the unmoving, unchanging, ever-present reality within you. Now I am helping you to know the stillness within you, which is unmoving, unchanging, and ever-present. Be with the stillness and remain conscious. This is the beginning of wakefulness. First know that you are only conscious just now, not the labels added, neither the form. You are using the form, you are more than the form. You are perceiving the duality show, you are prior to the duality show. You are perceiving the object, you are prior to the object. Your consciousness remains ignorant about itself by holding the form level identification to be itself, which is not itself. By holding on to something which is not itself, it remains struggling and it remains ignorant and remains disturbed throughout the waking state. It is your consciousness which is accepting the birth to be real, as it is yet to realize that it is beyond birth and death. Your consciousness unknowingly accepts the birth and death to be real at the duality show, as it is yet to wake up from the duality dream to realize that it is the eternal observer, the unborn observer, the ever-present observer, prior to the dreamy duality manifested show just now. First, your consciousness needs to know that it is only consciousness. Only by knowing that it is consciousness, it starts abiding inwardly within. Otherwise, it is continuously trapped by the perceived story, drama, or dream, whatever the term. Your consciousness is yet to wake up from the perceived duality show. It is strongly holding the duality show to be real, as it is yet to know its non-dual reality. Your consciousness is non-dual, prior to movement, prior to changes, prior to appearance and disappearance. How it is trapped by the object level show which appears and disappears. Because your consciousness is yet to know that its origin is only non-dual, and your consciousness is yet to know the light within, and your consciousness contains the seed of entire manifestation within, not knowing that the entire manifested duality show is reflected out of itself. Your consciousness is remaining ignorant about the whole perceived show, the duality show, to be itself and to be real also. It is exactly like how you perceive a movie and accept the movie to be real and remain worried. Exactly here, it is only you who observes the show, and it is only you who remains disturbed by the show, and it is only you who needs to wake up from the show. How can you wake up? Unless you are conscious of yourself. And you refuse to be conscious of yourself. And you want to know the truth. You simply want to read books and want to know the truth without going inwardly, without abiding inwardly, without staying beyond words, without observing, without identifications. Is it possible? First, you must know that you are ever here and nothing has never happened to you. This is possible only by being conscious of yourself. How to be conscious of yourself? Just by abiding without words and freeing yourself from all identifications imposed. Just now inwardly there's no object, so nothing to identify, nothing to describe. You cannot use any words here, so you stay beyond words. That's why you remain so peaceful inwardly, because there's no movement, no object, neither appearance nor disappearance. This is your original state, and you are constantly missing your original state and constantly holding on to the form level show, movement level show, object level show. To be yourself and to be real also. I help your consciousness to be conscious of itself, to stay beyond words, and to know the stillness constantly. No word is required to know yourself. No words is required to wake up totally. Only by staying beyond words and observing silently, your consciousness is waking up. And this wakefulness is not partial, it is total. Because your consciousness is already within the source. But it never knows that it is already one with the source, because it never abides inwardly. Even with eyes open, your consciousness should know the peace within and observe the duality show silently. Very easily your consciousness can wake up from the duality show. Your consciousness realizes that it is never born only by waking up totally from the perceived dream in which birth and death appear to be real at the form level. You are observing only a show in which the birth, movement, and the disappearance of the form appear to be real. But it is not so. Light is consciousness, and out of the light within only, each and every object is reflected just now as innumerable objects, innumerable species, innumerable manifestations. Just now, you are the original non-dual absolute reality, and nothing has never happened to you. But in your observation, the duality happens, space happens, and a manifestation happens. And you also come to know that you are only at the duality level through the form. You are only observing the show in which the birth and death appear to be real, and every happening appear to be real. Every moment appear to be real. Because here, each and every object, each and every movement, each and every happening within space at the duality is nothing but the reflection of the light within. It is not real. This you will come to know only by abiding inwardly constantly. Now at present, accept that you are only conscious and start knowing the stillness within. By abiding in the stillness and observing silently, your consciousness can wake up from the duality dream, which is not you. Even now, you only observe the waking state. You are not the waking state. You are prior to the waking state. You only observe the dream. You are not the dream. You are prior to the dream. You are only observing the manifestation. You are not the manifestation, but you are prior to the manifestation. Entire manifestation is by the light. Out of light only, every element happens spontaneously and interact spontaneously at an highest speed, and various forms are created in no time. Unless you go inwardly, unless you stay beyond words, unless you know the stillness within, there's no possibility for your consciousness to remain wakeful, to realize that it is a non-dual absolute reality and nothing has never happened to it. Till then, your consciousness is constantly struggling by the perceived dreamy show, which is not itself. Now tell me, is it not necessary for your consciousness to be conscious of itself and to know that it is already the source, the unborn ultimate reality? I am here only to help your consciousness to remain wakeful from the perceived dream and to wake up totally, inwardly, to know that it is already that. Better remain conscious and know the stillness constantly and wake up totally and realize that you are already that.